Hey, welcome to the TVP channel, and today we do have a Vanguard game, a final game at that, and it's going to be a Gurguit mirror. Not surprised here because Gurguit is being in the top meta right now, and the Gurguit player on the right will start first by reading the Gurguit searcher here. You can see he actually have the Gurguit dragon, but he doesn't pick it up. And now it's the left player's Gurguit turn. He does try into the Jeffrey here, which is a nice clone. Now he looks at the top 7 and does hit into the Gurguit, so it's effectively a +1 for him. He does swing with the Jeffrey. No guard, hitting to a Wonder Hazard there. Wonder Hazard is a very strong double R for the GP now because it does proc multiple battles in the battle phase. Now the player on the right does strike into the Perceiver here, the Aggro Veil, and actually using his skill to actually call the Sagromor from the top deck, but the Sagromor skill doesn't activate because it needs to call from hand. But it does check into another Sagromor, but the player on the left does into a draw trigger here. Very blessed. Now he does strike into his own copy and does hit into the Gurguit Searcher here, but it doesn't proc as well because it does only proc if you call it from hand. They call the Wonder Hazard to call the Din Drain using his skill, opting to actually counter charge instead of drawing, and calling the Grid 2 here to just swing and progress with the aggressiveness. He does guard the Wonder Hazard here. No guarding the Vanguard. Don't see any triggers here. No triggers from the right player side too, and we do eat a critical trigger, damage trigger, but it doesn't change anything. So it's his turn to attack, and he does go to the Grid 3 first, right into the Gurguit here, going for the XL2. Now he does push up the Sagromor and calling the Sagromor from hand on the left side, using his skill to solve +1, drawing 1 card. And now does call the Perceiver, which does activate his skill here. When on play, you can counter +1, discard 1 card, gain 1 circle, and then because he does draw through the XL2, and you can actually basically call the Aggro Veil from the drop zone or the deck. So it's a super broken triple R, or is it a double R card? I can't exactly remember, but it's a super strong card release for Paladin, especially Gurguit. And given that the player on the left is only on Grid 2, the Gurguit doesn't give the permanent buff, which is the strong aspect of Gurguit. So the attack does begin and actually raining down on the player on the left. Using the Aggro Veil skill to actually bounce the Grid 3 to the soul, so that he can bounce to hand, but we do see the player actually eating to another draw trigger there. Very fortunate for him. Now this will just be a 24k attack, which will just be a 10k gun, despite the damage trigger that he eat. So he does eat it. Now using the Gurguit skill to actually on attack, counter +1, to look at the top 5 to actually call 2 units. He does call the Paramore as well as the Jeffrey as well as the Gurguit Searcher. Decide to actually put them in one column, creating a very strong column, given that the enemy has already eaten a damage trigger. So checking into a critical here to pump there. Now he does decide to swing at the Vanguard, which does create a perfect column here. If I'm not wrong, it's 36k, and the Hansen is forced out. He does reconsider his decision and actually eat the damage, adding to a huge trigger here. So very fortunate for him, and he's pushed at 4 damage. And now it's his turn to attack, and given that his opponent is on the Grid 3, the Gurguit does give the buff. So he does go for the XL1 here, aiming to actually take the game right here, right now. He calls his own Perceiver to actually use the skill to gain another marker and calls the Aggro Veil from the deck. And do note that every unit that is superior caught in this turn right now will gain a +5k buff for each circle that Gurguit have. So effectively anything that's superior caught will get a 10k buff, and even Gurguit itself. So it's super broken, and because they can extend the battle so many times in one battle phase, it's just XL things all over again. And the 10k guard will be asked up front, and the player on the right does guard it, throwing 2 Aggro Veils. Swing with another 10k guard, throwing a 15k shield here. Does go for a 15k guard here, throwing a 20k shield back. Swinging the Aggro Veil, which is going to be a big boy. Does eat to a damage trigger himself, so very fortunate for him, and he might lighten the load and actually might help him survive this turn. So he uses his Gurguit skill now here, touching swinging the Vanguard, calling the top 5. He does opt to choose 2 units here, a Wonder Hazard and a Gurguit. And the Wonder Ezel is a super good target because Wonder Ezel allows him to actually superior call more units from hand, and in this case it does superior call a Sagromor, which allows him to actually Soul Blast 1 to draw one card and superior call one more card from hand. So we do see another Wonder Ezel in his hand, but there's no need to actually call the Wonder Ezel because there's only one circle open for attack. So he does call the Ergo Bell here. He does no guard the Vanguard. Try checking into a heal here. Pumping power to the Grade 2, and the last power does go to the Grade 2 as well. But now there's a clarification, and the opponent just opts to actually put the trigger on the Sagromor instead, so it's a 10k split. But the opponent does eat into a huge trigger himself, so he has a 32k Vanguard right now, which will do very well against the aggressive turn done by his left player. So just a 5k guard right here, but he does use the Gurguit skill, which does have another second skill. Basically, when upon attack, you can actually counter blast and look at top 5 to actually use it to guard instead of calling them to attack. So it's a very interesting, I would say, design by Bushiroad, but they somehow messed it up with the power buff. And the Kanzen will be forced out, and turn does conclude. Now it does strike into a Gurguit here to draw 1, and now there's 3 Excel circles here, and this should spell game. Now it does move out the Sagromor first. He called their own Sagromor from hand, so blasting 1 to draw 1 card. Calling the Dindrin here to actually Soul Blast 1 once again to actually draw 1. Moving up the Great Tree Searcher. Calling the Max Slash Dragon. Thought process is going on now, and does call the Grade 2 Corner Charger there. And it's going all out by calling triggers to actually boost the Sagromor as well as the Gurguit. Now it does swing at the rear guard first for a 5k guard because, I mean, it's a 10k guard, but it's a 5k guard on the Vanguard itself, so eating the side is the correct move here. Using a Sagromor to swing at the Vanguard for a 10k guard. And do know all the units superior caught in this turn will get a 15k buff. But the opponent does eat into a damage trigger here, so very strong player. The Gurguit will swing, counter blasting 1 to look at top 5 once again. And we do see very strong targets he can call. One of them being Percival, because Percival does have an on-play skill, so it's able to actually counter blast 1 and discard 1 card right now to gain an Excel circle mid-battle, and calling the Agovel mid-battle. Which he does so here. Calling from the drop zone here because he's out of Agovel in the deck. So the Gurguit is actually 32k or 37k because of the boost. No trigger here, but he does have the Max Slash Dragon to actually extend the attack further, and this should be game. You know, all the superior card units here have a 20k buff on them, so you'll be hitting over the damage trigger no problem. Swing the Agovel, using his skill to actually bounce it back to hand, but he does use the Gurguit skill here to actually use it defensively. But it's a 25k guard at least, so he does need to throw another 5k shield from hand. And now the Max Slash Dragon will attack, using his skill to actually superior call the Agovel again, and this is game. Thank you for watching till the end, and do consider subscribing, dropping a like and a comment if you do enjoy the content.